Good evening, everybody. I just thought I'd show you the clutch I've just taken out of my 2011 Hyundai i30 diesel. This clutch has been in for about 250,000 miles. It's the original clutch, so I just thought you might like to have a look at what sort of state it's in. So we've got the three parts of the clutch. We've got the release bearing, the pressure plate and the clutch plate. So normally that is clamped to the flywheel by the pressure plate, by that big disc there. So this is bolted to the flywheel and spins around as the engine's turning. The clutch plate is that the gearbox input shaft goes through that splined hub. So normally when you're driving along, both of these parts are spinning with the engine and it drives the car. But when you need to change gear, obviously you want to disengage the clutch so that the input shaft of the gearbox is stationary. So to do that, we have the release bearing. When you press down on the clutch pedal, this is pushed forwards and it pushes inwards on this disc spring. And as you push inwards on the middle, this disc moves backwards, and so that it releases the pressure on the clutch plate so that that's now free to be stationary even though the engine is running. You can see the pivots here where that spring pivots around. So push in the middle, this moves backwards. So just looking at the state of it, the linings on this clutch plate have, as you can see, are considerably worn. In fact, there's no grooves left on this side. And these springs in the middle are also quite loose. And in actual fact, there was a washer that dropped out of it when it's disassembled. So that's the clutch plate. On the driven plate, there's a lot of wear on this spring at this end, these little fingers. There's quite a noticeable groove there. So this is where the release bearing has been pushed onto it time and time and time again. And there's also wear on this bearing, and it's quite rough as well. Another thing with the bearing is this is the pressure point where the yoke pushes it to release the clutch. So when you press on the clutch pedal, the slave cylinder pushes on that lever, and this pushes this inwards with enough force to release the pressure. And it bears down on these little metal parts here, because this is plastic, and on this side it's actually worn right through the metal. It's going into the plastic. So all of these combinations have led to the clutch dragging and making it very difficult to engage gears, well, first and reverse, when you're stationary. Normally with a worn clutch, I expect you'd have problems with it slipping rather than not releasing, but for it to release you need to push this spring in far enough forwards in that direction to release the pressure on the plate. And when you take into account all the wear that you see, you're losing the amount of movement you can get. So the clutch has been replaced and now it works fine. Now I've already tried some of the common features to try and get around this problem with not engaging gear, like changing the little damper valve on the clutch master cylinder, but that didn't really have any effect. So especially with a high mileage vehicle, if you are getting that problem, there may come a time when you just have to bite the bullet and replace the clutch. I just hope the new clutch does as well as this one. Okay, thank you.